Hello, I am Tammy Wells from the Cornhusker State of Nebraska.
Hi, I'm Sue Don Diego from the sunny state of Florida.
Hi, my name is Bob Rubel. I'm from sunny California.
Hi, I'm Jessica Lloyd Rogers from the state of Oregon.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth Don Diego from the sunshine state of Florida.
Hi, my name is Jim Hatch. I'm from the great state of Maine.
Welcome.
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 To the National Foster Parent Association's annual meeting.
Hello, and I'm Karen Poteet, and I'm from the state of Oklahoma, and I'm the president of the board of directors of the National Foster Parent Association. And we want to welcome you to our very first ever virtual annual meeting of the membership of the National Foster Parent Association. This meeting is being recorded and is streaming live not only on our website, but also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Later on, you'll have the opportunity to enter questions in the comments sections. And at the end of our annual meeting, our executive director, Irene Clements, and I will be happy to address those questions. Our membership was sent earlier this week. The minutes from our annual meeting that was held in 2019 in Garden Grove, California. And those minutes, we did have a motion to accept the minutes by Irene Clements, which was seconded by Sean Johnson. And the vote of our membership has approved the minutes from our 2019 annual membership meeting. You're going to hear a financial report about the status of our organization as of the end of 2019 a little later in this program, but I did want to give you an update. As of August 31st of this year, our balance sheet bottom line for the National Foster Parent Association is $331,595.87. It's my honor and privilege right now to introduce the executive director of the National Foster Parent Association, Irene Clements. Hi, Irene.
Karen.
How are you?
I'm good. So I want to say hello to everybody from the Lone Star State.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And we're so excited about you presenting the annual report of the status of the National Foster Parent Association for calendar year 2019. We had a lot of exciting things happening. We're going to have exciting things happening the rest of 2020 and into 2021. But I'm just going to turn it over to you to present the review of the 2019 annual report.
Thank you. So you may be wondering, well, why are we having the 2019 annual report review in September, right? Typically, we have this meeting at our conference in June, and the annual report for the previous year is presented at that time. I do want you to know that what you'll be seeing on your screen this evening is a PowerPoint of the highlights of that report. The full report you can find on our website, and you have the address there on your screen if you want to go a little more in depth and read more about what we're going to discuss in just a couple of minutes. So I think we're ready to go into the annual report. There we go. Let's go to the first slide. So just a little bit of background of the NFPA, and if most of you are probably aware of a lot of this, but maybe some of you aren't. So the National Foster Parent Association was founded in 1971. It was about 3 years in the making. Prior to that, And there was a conference in 1971 that kind of got the ball rolling. But the actual incorporations and things like that happened in 1972. And the nonprofit status actually didn't occur until 1974. We welcome anybody to be a member of the association. Our members are foster parents, adoptive parents, kinship caregivers, social workers, all other kinds of professionals and advocates. We have membership categories for child placing agencies and other agencies that serve children and families in the foster care arena. And so it's a wonderful group of people who all have a heart for working within the foster care system that become members of our organization. We're led by a board of directors, which is representative of our members. Most of the activities are organized by our standing committees with some additional ad hoc committees and subcommittees, and are led by members of the board of directors who are all volunteers. Our work is supported by 2 staff, myself, that's full-time, and our part-time administrative coordinator who lives in Taylor, Texas. In 2019, the board of directors met twice in person, once at the annual conference and once in the fall. And that meeting was in Reston, Virginia. And by the rest of the time, we met virtually on conference calls the first Monday evening of each month. And I did just make a note in here that 2020 brought some change to that because of COVID-19 pandemic. The annual conference, in-person conference, had to be canceled. And certainly all the meetings of the board of directors have been held virtually so far this year, and will be for the rest of this year as well. Okay, next slide. So talk a little bit about the education and training. This is a list of the locations that the NFPA has held an annual education conference. Unfortunately, because we weren't able to have our 2020 conference, we're going to have to drop the annual as we announce our 2021 conference. But even when we do that, we will celebrate our 50th anniversary. And hopefully we'll be able to do some special things with some of the historical documents that we have and some of the historical events that were held and things like that to kind of highlight our work. The sponsors for our 2019 conference were Project Foster, United Healthcare, Centene Corporation, and the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. You'll see a note on the bottom that we are scheduled to go back to Reston, Virginia in June of 2021, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed about that. If that can't happen because of COVID issues is still, or the rules in the state, how many people can be together at one time in one place, those we just don't know what that's going to look like. But we do have a commitment that if we can't have an in-person conference again, that we will have a virtual conference for all of you to enjoy and learn. Next slide. Thank you. So really, really happy to tell you about the NFPA Training Institute. And this is something that we rolled out, at least started the process and started the planning. A lot of work went into making this a reality. And we wouldn't have been able to do it without the Centene Corporation. They have partnered with us for many years to promote quality training, and they've done that even before they partnered with NFPA. And the training for foster parents and kinship caregivers through all kinds of free training that they do on foster care at EDU, as well as in-person trainings where they would send their professional trainers who are well-versed in foster care to the various states to do training upon invitation at no cost to the state, no cost to the Foster Parent Association or anybody. So their commitment was strong, and we knew that. And they've been a corporate sponsor for our conference for quite a few years. And we were able to work a new partnership with them in 2019 to become the official sponsor with a new training website for the NFPA. And I hope you've been on that new website. It's nfpa.org, ti.org, and to look at just the wonderful training options that are there for you. Webinars that are 60 to 90 minutes long that are very relevant topics to anybody working in the foster care system, particularly parenting. And that if you need a training certificate for your licensing, then that's available to you. Also on that website are what we call 10-minute rescues. Now the 10-minute rescues are short, they're 10 to 15 minutes long. So there's not any training certificate to go with those, but they're the kinds of topics that when you get in a pinch, you're pulling your last hair out, you don't know what you're gonna do, maybe you have a child join your family and they're doing something nobody told you about and you just are frustrated or don't know what to do. Then you can go and see if there's a 10-minute rescue that will help give you enough information to get you through the night or the weekend, right? Until you can get to some folks that can help you better and help the child. Centene also produces 1 to 3 live and then recorded webinars each quarter to help provide content for the website, and we work with them to identify the topics and the speakers to do those. And they provide us with other types of technical support, professional support, and we have a committee that works and meets once a month to keep really good oversight over that new program and over that training institute. We rolled this, like I say, we didn't actually roll it out till 2020, but all of the work started in 2019 and got us close to the point where we could actually roll it out in 2020. Next slide. Okay, public policy development and advocacy. We've strengthened our advocacy efforts over the past 4 years. When we were able to add an executive director to the mix, it provided us with a focus for public policy requests, and it's enabled us to increase our presence in Washington, D.C. And a little later in this presentation, you'll see where some of the opportunities that I've been fortunate enough and honored to have to work in Washington, D.C. on your behalf and on behalf of all the caregivers in this country through the National Foster Parent Association. It's also improved our ability to partner with many other organizations, national organizations, some more local organizations, but mostly national. And I listed a few on here for you: Child Welfare League of America, the North American Council on Adoptable Children, most of you know them as NACAC, Generations United. They provide support to a lot of relative caregivers, kinship caregivers, grandparents, and that sort of thing, and we've worked very closely with them for years. The Adoption Exchange Association, the Family Focused Treatment Association, Foster Care Alumni of America, CHAMPS, Creating a Family, National Child Traumatic Stress Network, and I have the privilege of serving on the NTC-TSN Advisory Council, Project Foster Care, the Washington-based Foster Care Coalition, and the Congressional Foster Care Caucus, and then as well as serving on the National Foster Care Month Steering Committee, where we work on the foster care months a year in advance. So some of what I did in 2019 was represent NFPA at a convening at the Brookings Institute in Washington, D.C. I also led a master session with a panel on working and mentoring with birth parents, and our panel had birth parents and foster parents and professionals, and that was at the National CAN conference in DC in April. Some of the other things the board of directors did is they supported staff and selected board members to preview 4 movies prior to public release to provide comments back to the producers. And we felt very honored to be selected by these producers to do this upfront work for them and give them feedback in time that they could make some actual changes to the final version of the films that they were presenting that year. So that included Instant Family, Foster, Breakthrough, and I Am Somebody's Child. We also participated in many interviews with newspapers and TV reporters. Had a lot of video shoots. We wrote several articles for publications, such as the Chronicle for Social Change and the Children's Bureau Express, and participated in other national conferences by presenting workshops at those conferences and are exhibiting during those conferences, like Child Welfare League of America, FFTA, Family Voices, etc. All right. We also played a significant role in the Rutgers Institute for Health, Healthcare Policy, and Aging Research Department's Rutgers University PCORI Foster Care Research Project, Antipsychotic Medication Oversight for Children in Foster Care, Perspectives from Foster Caregivers. The full report will be due out the fall of this year. Now, what a mouthful, right? What a title for a wonderful project. That many foster families were interviewed by the researchers through us being able to facilitate those opportunities. And we really enjoyed working with the folks from Rutgers. I think the preliminaries of the reports that I've been seeing that they've been sharing is going to be a wonderful, wonderful tool for all of us to use as we look at the use of antipsychotic medications on our kids. We also maintain a repository of position statements on pretty broad public issues that are available on our website. Most of them have to do with foster care in some way. The Public Policy Committee recommends new public policy statements to the Board of Directors. They also are always looking for ideas from our members if they know of something that they think we should have a position statement on. So they're always open to taking recommendations. And I want you to be sure and know that. You can go on our website and find them. They're listed on this slide. But you can also contact the Public Policy Chair by email and let him know, if you have some ideas about something that should be in a position statement that you think the National Association should have a national voice in. Another thing that we're working on that is extremely important for the future of the NFPA, and that's a strategic plan. In 2018, we committed to a comprehensive strategic planning process. And that started in the summer, went through October and into the end of the year. The process engaged staff, board members, all kinds of stakeholders from around the country, community members, to help us establish a direction of growth for NFPA. Are we meeting the needs of the constituents? And if not, what do we need to change? What do we need to add? What do we need to let go of? That sort of thing. Are we set up in the right way? There's so many things to think about when you are moving forward. What we've done for 50 years probably is not appropriate for the next 50. There are a few things that will be, but times are changing, as we all know. And just in the last 7 months, we know how much things have changed in how we do business and how we communicate with each other. And so all of that is now heavily playing into our strategic plan work. What we walked away with at the end of 2018 to start January of 2019 was a 3-year plan. And so we are now a little bit more than a year and a half into that plan. And that plan will end on December 2021. And hopefully we will have met all of our goals by then. We have a wonderful group of people, doing this work, very dedicated people. And so I have no doubt that that's going to all come to fruition. The plan is focused on NFPA resources, both personnel and financial, on 3 key strategies designed to make progress toward the organization's mission and vision of supporting foster families. And in that is the broader all families, whether they're called resource families, kinship families, adoptive families, but all of those families who are serving children within the foster care system. The 3 strategy areas are board development, membership, and operations. The substance of these strategies is articulated and brought to life in action steps. And so these groups all meet regularly. These subcommittees have goals. So the board development committee has 3, and it's to increase satisfaction from 69% to 90% by December 31st, 2021, as reported by the annual survey of board members. To increase board engagement from 56% to 95% by the end of 2021, as reported by an annual survey of the board, and to increase corporate partnership revenue by 9% by the end of 2021. The goals for the membership committee are quite a few more. There are 7. I'll go over those briefly for you. They've really got their work cut out for them. Identify members' needs, a yearly satisfaction survey, clarify membership tier benefits, increase the number of memberships, improve the NFPA's ability to listen to and meet members' needs, improve members' awareness of the mission, vision, range of programs and accomplishments to retain current membership, and to increase funding through membership. The operations group, and I have the privilege of actually chairing that subcommittee, has 3 goals. 1 is create a succession plan approved by the board. And that is because I have let the board of directors know that I plan to retire the end of 2021. And so there would definitely have to be some plans made about what do we want the organization to look like after that. But who is going to, lead that? Where's not the office going to be? All of those kinds of things. So we're working on that. All those things that have to happen in order to make a succession plan work. Begin an executive transition conversation in mid-2021 or earlier, depending on readiness, and increase funding and support by 10% each fiscal year to create sustainability through 2021, and then hopefully on beyond as well. Now we have a financial statement, and I think we have a video of our treasurer who's going to give you some of that information.
Hi, this is Peggy Kirby from the great state of Louisiana, Sportsman's Paradise. I am the treasurer of the National Foster Parent Association, bringing you the financial position statement as of December 31st, 2019. Our balance at that time was $321,512.63. We're growing financially strong and really appreciate you being a part of NFPA. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Peggy. So here is a review of who served on our board of directors in 2019. These were people who served on the board in June of 2019. So you'll see some faces and some names that you recognize that are on our board of directors now, and then some who chose to not serve anymore, or their terms were up and they just didn't want to serve anymore. So we have Karen Poteet as our president. Vice president is Tom Rector from California. Secretary was Eileen Pasteur from California. Our treasurer remains Peggy Kirby from Louisiana. Our state affiliates chair, Jim Hatch from Maine. Jim is not in that position anymore, but he still serves on our board of directors. Member at large is Tammy Wells from Nebraska, and she remains in that position. Other directors were Antoinette Cotman from New York. She is no longer on the board. Kate Hawks from Virginia, who currently serves. Sean Johnson from Texas, who currently serves. Bob Rubel from California, and Sue Don Diego from Florida, who both currently serve. Michelle Williams from California is no longer on the board, and Marcus Stallworth from Connecticut is no longer on the board. Mary Beth Don Diego from Florida is currently serving. Now, I might just add that Marcus Stallworth, although he doesn't serve on the board of directors, took a new role this year as our consultant for the NFPA Training Institute. And so he is really a vital cog in our work in providing free 24-hour available training to any parent in this country who wants it and needs it, and to others who want to take that same training in order to better work with their foster families and bio families. So here's a list of some of our partners that we actively interact with often and do various projects with and work with. United Healthcare, Adopt Us Kids, Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, Fostering Media Connections, Family Focused Treatment Association, NACAC, Northwest Media, that you might better know as Foster Parent College, Adoption Exchange Association, National Foster Care Month Work Group, the Horatio Alger Scholarship Program, Department of Homeland Security and their Blue campaign that deals with human trafficking, the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, the CHAMPS campaign. Programs, and we have some programs and sponsors that we work with. Many are the same, but there are some others. The National Foster Care Coalition, Fostering Families Today magazine. They graciously give us 2 pages for an article in each edition of Fostering Families magazine. The TACH, and we actually will be a part of their virtual conference coming up in early October. Child Welfare League of America, combined federal campaign where federal employees can select the National Foster Parent Association to give donations to, when we truly appreciate all those who do. In Generations United, National Grange. The National Grange, for at least the last 15 years, the ladies have made us a beautiful quilt each year that they give to us, that we auction off typically at our conference to raise money for our youth scholarship fund. Wendy's Wonderful Kids, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, who's been so kind and generous to the National Association. The Child Welfare League of America Practice of Excellence Commission, Safe Coalition for Human Rights, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and Yark and Zachariah LLC. I just had a note in here too that a special thank you to Yark and Zachariah for their donation of Mr. Zachariah's experience and work updating our federal tax guide for foster, adoptive, and kinship caregivers each January. And he's done that for many years at no cost to the NFPA. And he does such great work. He's a tax expert. He worked for the IRS. He does lots and lots and lots of foster parent, foster family taxes. He always does great research, and we know that our members get really solid information when they use the tax guide off of our website that you do need to be a member of NFPA to get to. Mr. Zachariah had some major issues this year and was unable to fulfill that. He was so sorry, but he wasn't able to. And so we have some other folks from Bill's Tax Service who have been a part of an exhibitor at our conferences for a long time as well. And so we approached them to see if they might be interested in doing this update. And you know, folks, within a week, we had the answer, yes, we will get it done, and we will get it done in time, and they did. And so a shout out not only to York and Zachariah, but to Bill's Tax Service this year for stepping in and really helping us, because we were facing a dilemma that we weren't quite sure how to handle. So thank you to Bill's Tax Service. So our national corporate sponsors for 2019 was Centene Corporation and United Healthcare. Some major accomplishments. Oh my goodness. And we couldn't put them all on here, but we've got quite a list for you. I think it's important that you see this and that you know that, like what do they do for us? Why should I be a member of the National Foster Parent Association? They don't touch me. What good is that? Well, these are the things that happen on your behalf that do affect the public policy that comes out of Washington, D.C., that then goes down and your states have to adhere to in some way. A lot happens that we do that does affect your day-to-day ability to foster within a system that makes sense. And if not, we're out there working to try to help it make more sense. So, like I said a while ago, we successfully completed the first full year of our 3-year strategic plan. We completed the participation in the Rutgers research that I discussed a while ago. We have a code of ethics for foster families, and we've had that for about 15 years. Some decisions were made by the board of directors to update that and maybe change the name from code of ethics to something else. So that was passed on to a committee of the Council of State Affiliates to complete the review and provide an updated document. And so I believe they're working on that, and hopefully, we'll get something from them, and that we'll have it available perhaps for June when we have our next conference. I had 2 in-person meetings in 2019 with Jerry Milner, the Associate Commissioner at the Children's Bureau. We have frequent phone conversations about what's happening in foster care. They want to hear the voice of foster parents. And we're particularly working very closely with the Bureau because of Family First Act and the need and the requirement for foster parents to work much more closely and be much more engaged with the parents of the children who join their family through foster care as time moves forward. I participated in the CWA Hill Day in Washington, D.C., presented workshops at that conference and the Safe Coalition on Human Rights National Conference. Also participated in the Family Focused Treatment Association Public Policy Institute in Washington, D.C. Those were 2 different months. Participate in a think tank on peer-to-peer interventions and constituent engagement system change, evaluating the evidence, and that was in Washington, D.C. We were exhibitors at the CWLA and FFTA national conferences, as well as the Family Focus Conference. Presented workshops and worked our exhibit at the Georgia State Conference, which turned out to have 1,200 people registered for that conference, and they had 1,400 at their luncheon that I got to speak a little to that group of people. Such warm, loving people in Georgia. It was wonderful. NFPA authored, like I said before, many articles for the Chronicle of Social Change, the Children's Bureau Express, Fostering Families Today, and then the number of articles that in magazines and newspapers that we were mentioned in because of interviews was probably too many to count. I certainly lost count. We responded to hundreds of emails and phone requests for information or assistance from many families, but certainly from others as well that work within the system, besides all the press people. And we do publish regularly the Informer. It's an excellent national source of news and information concerning foster care. And we continue the NFPA Scoop, which is our online blog. And I don't know if y'all know about that or not, but we do have a blog and might want to look at that. We again published our federal tax benefits for 2018, thanks to Bill's Tax Service. We had the blue bracelets, wristbands on sale again for National Foster Care Month through our online e-commerce site on our website. We held Walk Me Home events in several locations across the country, which are great for raising awareness of a need for more foster families, awareness of the system and what needs to be changed, what the needs of the kids in care are. And these walks are a great opportunity to raise funds for the foster care associations and child placing agencies that are holding those walks. Foster Families Today again highlights our articles every edition, which is just a wonderful thing for them to do. We have our continued partnership with Foster Parent College for quality education and training. We have, I think, 31 state foster parent associations affiliated with the NFPA through the Council of State Affiliates in 2019. We awarded 6 academic scholarships to seniors living with foster and adoptive families. And we offered 15 scholarships to foster, kinship, and adoptive parents to attend our 2019 conference. We also, again, had a really successful education conference in Garden Grove, California that had over 600 in attendance. We had promotion of Giving Tuesday, requesting donations for the work of the NFPA. We participated in national groups like the National Foster Care Coalition, National Foster Care Month Planning Group, and the CWA Practice of Excellence Commission. We maintain social media outlets, the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, our blog, The Informer. We now have The Insider, which is a members only newsletter, and certainly YouTube, which some of you may be watching on this evening. We redesign the website, providing important information to resource parents, students, researchers, and members of the general public. Okay, that is the annual report for 2019. I hope it wasn't too boring to listen to that. But Karen's joined me now, and I don't know if we have any questions, if anybody's chatted anything in or not. I'm not.
Well, before we do that, we still have some business in our business meeting to take care of.
You're right.
Before we address any questions, and we'll get to those questions shortly.
You're absolutely right.
But first of all, I want to give just a little time to see if there's any unfinished business that we need to address in this annual meeting. So I'm going to just pose that question and wait just a bit to see if there are any comments about any unfinished business. And if we have none, then we're going to move on to our next agenda item. Okay, and so far, I'm not seeing any comments on any unfinished business. So we'll move to new business. If there is any new business that we need to address in this meeting. And once again, I'm going to pause just to see if any comments come in about new business. Okay. So far, I haven't seen any comments come in regarding new business. And the next step before we get to the questions is the call for adjournment. And I'm going to pause just a moment to see if there are any objections to us adjourning this very first virtual annual membership meeting of the National Foster Parent Association. And seeing no objections to adjournment, I am going to declare that this annual membership meeting, which we looked at all of the major accomplishments for the National Foster Parent Association for 2019, is now adjourned. Now, if any questions have come in, Irene and I are happy to look at those questions and address them at this time. Okay, it looks like we have a question here from Wayne Harris that says, is the Bill Gates Foundation involved with the National Foster Parent Association? And no,
Nope,
the
they
Bill
are
Gates
not.
Foundation is not. However, Mr. Harris, if you have any ties with the Bill Gates Foundation, we would be more than happy, wouldn't we, Irene?
We would. We actually
to
have
talk with the
contact.
Bill Gates Foundation.
We have
and
contacted them in the past and gotten nowhere.
okay, so if anyone
So-
has any kind of association with the Bill Gates Foundation, we would be more than happy to pursue that on behalf of our membership.
Right. Thank you, Wayne, for that.
Yes. Any other questions? We'll give just a little bit for them to come in.
Karen, while we're waiting, I just wanted to take a brief time to just acknowledge the folks in across the country that are experiencing the wildfires and mass destruction of their homes and their communities, and also those that have been dealing with the many storms coming in to the coast and causing such, again, horrible damage and flooding. And there's still folks that we know in Louisiana that they say now they may not get electricity for 2 more months. It's that bad. We think about you all as we think about all of the families across the country. Just wanted to have a minute here to acknowledge that you're never alone. You have people behind you and support. Let us know if you think there's some way we can help in whatever way that might be. But know that you are supported and certainly prayed for.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any other questions that have come in?
No,
Well, nothing else has popped up for us. So, Irene, thank you so much for presenting that annual report about all of the accomplishments of the National Foster Parent Association in 2019. And to all of you who are out there that are viewing this, thank you for being our members. If you're not a member, come join us, because there are exciting things happening that we're excited to talk about. Moving into ending 2020 and moving into 2021, and we'll be moving forward. We'll be moving forward into our second century, our second 50 years as an association, and because of that, we as a board have adopted the theme for our annual conference, which is scheduled for June of 2021. We hope that we can have it in person. If not, we may move to a virtual setting. But the theme is forward. And that is what the NFPA is doing. We are moving forward. Oh, we've got a comment here. Thank you, Becky Reese Mullins, who's thanking us for our commitment to the foster community. And Becky, you're an awesome person and an awesome volunteer that helps our board of directors.
That's right. Thank you, Becky.
But we have many people who work with us to help this association move forward from all over the nation, and we thank all of you. Irene, would you like to have any final comments?
No, just if you're not a active member of your local association, if you have lucky enough to have one yet, or your state association, please take a look at those and support them, because grassroots efforts are so important. And I know you're busy as a foster parent and you think, when do I find time to be an advocate? Well, you are an advocate for every child that lives in your family. You are an advocate for them and your family. And sometimes you just need to expand that a little bit. And it's easier to do when you're part of a group of people who can help you do that advocacy work. And certainly we have wonderful committees that are doing all this work. And that, it's not one or two people doing it. It's a lot of people working very hard as volunteers. And you can find those on the committees on the website. Take a look at them and contact some of those committee chairs and ask them, well, what are y'all doing? Do you need somebody else or whatever? And get involved. And those usually meet once a month by GoToMeeting or Zoom or something, or just a phone call, a conference call, and see if maybe that's something that you'd like to do. Excuse me, and get more involved on a broader scale, on the national scale. Because everything we do there comes back down to y'all, and we can have good decisions made on the national level. It makes it much better for when it gets down to your states of what you need to be advocating for there. So it's really important. And I'll say one last thing. There's a quote by Vera Fahlberg, who was well versed in foster care. And she said, every child deserves an irrational advocate. And, in reality, that irrational advocate should be their parents, right? But for some of our kids, it's not that way. And so it's time to step up and become that irrational advocate for those kids until they can go back home and their parents can do that for them, or whatever the new plan is for those kids. Foster care is more than 3 hots and a cot. That's what it was years ago. That's not what it is anymore. Foster families play the most vital role in healing children of anybody in the entire foster care system. And yes, that's a weight on your shoulders, but just think of the impact that you're each making every single day. So be that irrational advocate.
And once again, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the National Foster Parent, our staff, our wonderful Council of State Affiliates, our volunteers, and our members, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate it. And remember, we're moving forward.
Yes, we are.